What happens when a woman decides the rules don't apply to her and then proves it? Welcome to Seizing Your Greatness. I'm Julianne Meyer, and today's guest has built her legacy by doing what others said could not be done. Dr. Rochel Marie Lawson, known as the Queen of Feeling Fabulous, didn't just break barriers, she has shattered them. As one of the few Black women in electrical engineering at the time, she defied expectations and went out to found the first woman owned, minority owned telecom installation company in the country. But when stress nearly took her out, she turned to ancient Ayurvedic medicine and found not just healing, but a calling. Now, through her company, Blissful Living for You, her best-selling books, and her hit show, The Blissful Living Podcast, she's helping other women lead, thrive, and feel fabulous doing it. Dr. Rochel, let me bring you on here. Sorry. There we are. Welcome to the show.
Thank you. It's a pleasure to be here.
I've been looking forward to this since we met not that long ago. And I mean, I said a lot about you, but it was like scratching the surface. There's so much more about you that you do, who you are. And I would love for you to share something with our audience about maybe that they can't find on the internet.
Well, I think I've always been a trendsetter since I was a little girl. I grew up in a family in my generation where I'm the only granddaughter. So I've just played with boys. Otherwise, I'd be playing by myself. But here's something they can't find out on the internet because it didn't exist when I did this. So at the age of 10, and this is just probably the precursor for me setting the trend of how my life was. But at the age of 10, I went to baseball trials with my two friends, of course, who were boys in the neighborhood. We rode our bikes, got there, and I'm all ready to try out. And they're looking at all the coaches are looking around and they're like, hi. And I'm like, they're like, oh, you're here to support your friends? I go, no, I'm here to try out. And they're like, oh, you could just see like, oh. And then one of them says, well, honey, softball tryouts are in 2 weeks. And I said, I didn't come here to try out for no softball. I come to, try out for baseball. And they were like, okay, now this is the 70s. Okay. And they're like, well, they're trying to, and I'm like, I rode my bike 2 miles with my friends and I'm better than him at playing baseball. And so one of the moms heard, and I was this adamant little sassy girl, all of probably 45 pounds. And, one of the moms heard them talking to me and they're like, oh, just let her try out. What harm is it going to do? So they were like, all right. So long story short, they were treating me like a little girl. So I did batting and the coach stood in between the pitcher's mound and threw the ball and I started tagging it and he stepped back and then pretty soon it was like, oh my God, this little girl can hit. Long story short, I ended up at the end of this tryout, the coaches were arguing as to who should get me on their team and how they were going to figure this out. And so I made the team. I started at second base. I made all-stars at 10 and 11 years old. And I was the only girl in Northern California at that time to play Major League Baseball in an all-boys league. But at that time, I was a little girl having fun playing with my friends. I had no idea until years later, after I came home from college, one of the moms saw me. She's like, hey, you're that little girl that used to play baseball. And I'm like, yeah. She's like, did you know that there were people coming all over from Northern California to watch you play? Because one, you were good, but it was such a phenomenal thing to have a little girl playing with all those boys. And so
I love that. You've definitely been a trendsetter, a visionary. I mean, the thing that I love is you like, okay, this hasn't been done before. And what? So
yeah, exactly. So I guess, it just kind of set the course for, why I would start a business and be the only female to start a telecommunications company. And it's in a male dominated industry, the construction industry, it just goes here. I'm always that girl.
Well, I've always personally kind of felt like, why do we have to believe the labels that other people put on us and the limitations that other people put on us? I mean, I put enough on myself. I don't need anybody else's on me either. So, right. And I just love how, some people would call it brave, but I feel like that's just how you live. Like there was no other option for you. This is just the way to go. And I think that that's truly amazing that you were able to not listen to the naysayers and just do it.
Yeah, I think it's just the story of my life. I've always been that sassy girl. I'm always speaking up. I was always speaking up and getting in trouble for it. My mom would always say, "It's not what you say; it's how you say it." And so it's just the way it is. But the funny thing is, after that tryouts, and all three of us made a team. Right after that, we went to, back in the day, 31 flavors, and we got an ice cream, and it was only 25 cents. And we had our ice cream, and we rode our bikes that 2 miles back home. But yeah, it's just I don't know. I'm just
I
that.
love that. I love too that you haven't stayed in one industry. And, I think that there's so many people, and I could have myself personally, I went to school for biochemistry because I wanted to become a pharmacist, and I lived in Canada, and you weren't allowed to go to pharmacy school without a bachelor's degree in science, like if you were not a Canadian. So it was just this long story, but I did all that and I was very good at it. And I worked in pharmacy the entire time. But I got through school and I thought, I don't want to do this. And there's so many people that just keep going because it's good money or whatever it may be. Or I went through all the trouble of going to school, like me being a lawyer, for example, and then hate it. So I appreciate that you have followed your calling wherever it has led you, no matter what. Like, it's just like you've been and done so many different things. And even it's like the title of one of your books, I absolutely love. Please share with the audience.
Well, I don't know which one it may
Well,
be.
say a couple of them then, because
So, is it the one that has the bad word?
yes, that's the one I'm thinking of.
So it's unstoppable, being fierce, fearless, and I don't know if I can say the word on your
Affable.
life. And it was funny because the book really came about. I was having a moment, I guess, and I started thinking about my daughter, and I thought, if she has children and I never get to meet my granddaughters, what message would like to share with my granddaughter about life in business?
Mm-hmm.
I was blessed to have spent time with both my grandmothers, but I never got to meet my great grandmothers. And so I'm like, this could be something that could be passed on. So I had this vision, had a great publisher to work with me, but I channeled 21 ladies that I knew and asked them, you write your chapter based on what you would want to share with your great granddaughter.
Mm-hmm.
And that's how the book came about. And so there's some really good words of wisdom about just all kind of aspects, business, life and business. And so now our granddaughters, and yours too, will have a notion that they can look back, and it's candid, it's real, it's heartfelt, it comes from wisdom and triumphs through challenges, and hopefully 75 years from now, some little girl will pick up that book and it'll be exactly what she needs to help her be that unstoppable chick that she knows she wants to be.
I love that. I love that so much. It actually helped me, just so you know. I had to write, it wasn't even a chapter, it was 400 and 300 words to basically describe who I am as a human and why I do what I do, not what I do. Because we get so caught up in like our career and how it becomes us in a way, versus we are all the things behind being a mother, being a daughter, being a businesswoman, an entrepreneur, all author, all these things. And it really makes me think, by writing this book, you really are speaking to the person and giving that person that knowledge that they need to be.
Right. I love it. It's that's so true. Sometimes we get so caught up in our head and we want to say everything perfect and and pretty, but we both know life is not perfect and it's not pretty. It's not always pretty. And so when we get over that part of ourselves and allow just our essence to flow out, magic is created. And that magic you now have will be able to be shared with someone, and it will definitely transform and change their lives.
Exactly. Yes. And I think I'm curious too because you are known as the queen of feeling fabulous, and that encompasses so many aspects of life. What is one of your favorite things to speak about when it comes to overall fabulousness?
I think that one of the things, it's a combination, but one of the things that I love speaking about is what I call the triple W's: wellness, wisdom, and wealth. And as women, I think it's really important for us, particularly in this day and age, to understand that the power we have when we have wellness, wisdom, which is AKA mindset, and wealth, that we can do so much more. And a lot of women don't equate it. They don't get it, or they compartmentalize wellness in that box, wisdom in this box, and wealth in that box. But in essence, it's a combination. Your greatest asset you have is your health and well-being, your wellness.
Mhm.
And in order to live that fabulous life you desire, you need to know how to manage your money, right? If you
Mhm.
don't have the right mindset or wisdom to do that, then you can't have the wellness or the wealth. And so I just think the combination of that is so powerful. And when I share the wisdom with people and I see their eye, and this goes for men too, girl, because they be listening too, I see their eyes just first it's glazed over and then they open up because they begin to understand the power of the three. And so whoever created the www for the internet, we're probably thinking about wellness, wisdom, and wealth.
I love that. I love that so much. And I know what you're referring to. It's like there's a film or something, and all of a sudden it's like everything comes into focus, and you can see that when you're speaking
Exactly.
to someone. It's like the light bulb turns on, and the flip has been switched, or the switch has been flipped, and boom, all of a sudden it's like, oh, yeah. I love it when you say that too. And this idea of how, especially women, we do compartmentalize, not realizing everything is interconnected.
Right.
Yeah.
Everything. I really do think it's important for us to understand the power we have when we step into our true essence of having wellness, wisdom, and wealth. And it's not just the power that we have today; it's the
Mhm.
power that we leave for our future female generations and the males too. Because I have boys. My daughter just happens to be the youngest of the four, but it's the power that we have when we step into that, and then when we share that gift with another queen and see
Mhm.
that queen go from distraught to fabulous. Oh man, it's just the most. It's like when you see a newborn baby born, it's like this little bitty creature that's been bubbling inside all of a sudden pops out, and it's the most beautiful, beautiful thing to see and witness. So, yeah, there's power in it.
Oh, there is. I like that analogy too because a lot of people can really understand that. And even people that have never had kids, or, we all understand that concept and the idea of birthing something, whether it is a person or a company or or any of that. So I like that idea too. Um, I think a lot of people too, they tend to, how can I put this? They don't take a look at, say, their wellness until their body screams.
Yeah.
And I know that it took a little bit of, I don't want to say like, it took a little bit for you to really look into this Ayurvedic medicine that has changed your life. And for me, I know that Western medicine, for me, there, don't get me wrong, I'll never put it down, ever, 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 but there is room for everything. And it's, like, Ayurvedic medicine has been around way longer.
It's so interesting. When I first became a nurse, I've probably been practicing Ayurveda since I was about 13 years old, and I had suffered from a undiagnosed medical condition for 17 years. Went to
Wow.
numerous doctors. It started when I was 8, and now they have the terminology for it. It was traumatic stress syndrome in children. And so I had 4 very traumatic things that happened to me when I was 8, and my body processed it with regards to having excruciating digestive challenges, right? So I suffered for 17 years, doctor after doctor. No one could diagnose me. They're giving me prescriptions. And long story short, when I was about 13, I started like not eating fast food and just started like saving my little ducats money to get massages and just doing all this stuff. And I had no idea what I was doing until I was about 25 years old and already a nurse. practicing ER trauma medicine, and realized that I was practicing the ancient wisdom of Ayurveda. So, of course, me being the schoolgirl, went back to school and got another advanced degree, and to learn not only how to manage it for myself, but to share this ancient wisdom
Mm-hmm.
that utilizes the things we have on earth, herbs and other things to help us stay healthy and well. And then I would share that with my patients in the emergency department, that were having heart attacks and things of that nature. I'd have them do a meditation and breathing.
Yeah.
But the phenomenal thing was I could see their electrocardiogram rhythm or their heart rhythm change on the monitors. And these people started coming back to me and telling me in the middle of my night shift that what I shared with them changed their life and how their health improved. And then I was like, okay, this is something. Not just me. It's that's probably why it's been around for thousands of years. It's just, and as I evolved in my practice, so to speak, the doctors I work with begin to become more open to
Mm-hmm.
other avenues of holistic well-being that could work in synergy with Western medicine. And so now today we have a lot of integrative practice and a lot of
Mm-hmm.
integrative physicians. But back when I became a nurse in the
It
late
didn't exist. I mean, even when I was a kid, no, definitely did not exist, and it didn't matter what you ate or.
exactly, oh, you like steak? Well, eat more of it because yeah,
Yeah.
I love steak too. But
Yeah.
yeah,
Well, it's interesting too because my cousin, who I adore, she is an acupuncturist and her husband is an herbalist. And my uncle, her dad, he has had stage 4 cancer for, I don't know, 20, 25 years, something like that. And it's gone into remission. I don't even know how many times and because of the plans that they put him on. He was literally riding his bicycle to and from radiation and chemo. His bicycle. I mean, who does that, right?
but it's amazing. Like,
Yeah.
people don't understand the true value of it. And again, that's why it's been around for thousands of years. It's practiced
Yeah.
all over the world. And when you become awakened to it and you experience the transformation in your body,
Mhm.
it actually leaves you feeling uplifted and energized and healthy. It almost
Exactly.
becomes addictive, right? It's like sex. When you have good sex, you want more of it.
Exactly. Yes, please. But
Yeah,
it's true. And I've always hated this idea of the either or. Like it's either Western or it's Eastern. Why can't it be all the things? Like, why not pick and choose what works for you and really being your own advocate? And, like we live inside our bodies. We know
right,
better than anybody else what's going on because we're actually feeling it.
right.
Now, can we communicate that?
Sometimes it's hard.
It
Sometimes
is
it's hard.
hard.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. But anyway, I just love this idea of feeling fabulous because, it is such, and I like the three-prong approach, the three W's. And if you think, I'm all about symbolism and things like that too. So I really do like that. But I think also a lot of women in particular, actually, no, this is a man thing too, but it's almost like money is a dirty word and we are not allowed to speak of it and we want it, but we're not allowed to talk about it or how. And I just love this idea of it just being an energetic thing. And, you know, yeah, money is not like the most important thing. However, it does pay for our lives and our experiences. So,
Right. I mean, that's not a dirty word. And
no,
more we,
definitely.
the more we understand that it's an energetic flow and how to utilize that energetic flow to the best of our abilities,
Exactly.
then it
The,
becomes,
the flow. Exactly. The flow. The
exactly,
more you have, the more you give. It's just one of those things,
exactly,
too. Uh,
exactly.
Now, I'd mentioned when we first started that you have a podcast. I'd love for you to talk with the audience a little bit about it because that's actually how I found you. And I was so taken by how you share. And I would love for you to tell the audience about it so that they can go and listen as well.
Okay, thank you. So my podcast is called the Blissful Living Podcast. I've had it since 2010. So
I
it
know.
started off as a 30-minute show once a month. But I always focused on wellness, wisdom, and wealth. And again, I think as women, it's important for us to have that. And I always think about my daughter when it comes to those three pillars. Of course, all my kids, but my daughter, particularly the wealth component, because women don't really, I think it's better now and it's getting more, we're getting more aware, but we don't really think about wealth. And when I think about wealth, I think about the lasting legacy that I want to leave for my future generations. And so if I don't know how to manage it, it becomes a life of chaos. And I didn't want my daughter to grow up not being in control of her own destiny when it came to managing her money. And she does really well now, both all my kids. So the show focuses on the pillars of wellness, wisdom, and wealth. I've had everybody on the show, not famous people and extremely famous people, recording artists, people we've seen on TV, people in regular society. But they come and they share something in either one of those pillars, or sometimes they can talk about all three. And I think the more we get the information out there, the better it is, the better we will be as a people and as a society and as a world. So that's my spiel, and I'm sticking with it.
No, I love it so much because, you can't do anything different if you don't know different. And who do you trust? And, I am giving you a walking Yelp review because I just think that the way you go about things is so open-hearted, open-minded, and not pretending to know everything, but also standing in your power of what you do understand and what you do know, and your willingness to share that with other people. Isn't it fascinating how when you're at the very top in like societal terms, people tend to be way more generous with like their time, their knowledge, everything. It seems to be the people in the middle that kind of hold on to it extra tight, and it's really hard to get anything out.
Yeah. And I wonder why. I know we're all striving to be the best we can be and to move forward, but it's I think it's just that it's like the precipice when a caterpillar is turning into a butterfly. The caterpillar actually has to die literally to become this beautiful butterfly. And I think the people in the middle are like that caterpillar until they understand that you have to go through the processes and you have to be able to open up in order to be able to receive that which will put you forward and put you where you want to go. Then it becomes a game changer. But sometimes people are they want to be so closed in and so tight, not realizing that they're actually cutting off their lifeline. And so I try to help them and express to them by opening up and being receptive. Not only do you allow yourself to receive, but you give the gift to others.
And that feels good too. I mean, you're going to be selfish about it, it feels good when you're giving. So we are almost out of time. I would just love for you to share something that maybe you wish I would have asked you about, or even a fact that, I don't know, an interesting fact. It's up to you. I like to give my guests the chance to share something.
Okay, so when I was 19, I had the opportunity to meet the Purple Highness, if you know who that is. The Purple Highness was Prince. Yeah, I was dating one of the members in the band at the time, and we used to hang out. And so this is so cool, but we used to hang out real quickly. And they were in LA, and I was down there visiting her and her the time. And Prince came out. They knew I had a crush on him, and so he came out and just touched my hand and kissed my hand and said, if these guys aren't treating me right, to let them know. I didn't wash that hand for 3 months, but it was the most amazing experience. And I just love Prince. And it just so happens that we were there while at the studio, sound studio, while Janet Jackson was recording her Control video. So the picture there is that me and my friend are up in the front. It looks like she's performing on stage, but it was all, structured. We're up in the front and we're just one of those people jamming to Janet Jackson. So I love Janet. I didn't get to meet her, but I got to meet Prince and then hang out with the band members of the time back in the day. And so.
Oh my gosh, if I had a microphone, I would drop it. That
That's
is
a little girl back then.
oh, I got stars in my eyes. If I was an emoji, I'd have stars in my eyes right now. That I don't fangirl, but that's really cool.
Yeah, it was cool.
Well,
The
that
80s
is
were
all of
cool.
the time that we have. And I just want to say thank you so much. We popped up your website a few times. And for those of you who maybe missed that, show notes, look in the show notes, and there's going to be plenty of ways for you to reach out to Dr. Rochel Lawson because she's so remarkable. I just want to say thank you so much for being on the show today.
Thank you for having me, Julianne. I appreciate you.
I appreciate you. And as you know, everyone, that is all the time that we have. So until then, enjoy the rest of your week, and we'll see you again on Thursday.